What's his name? Notorious.
So that started. Anyways, we'll just get into who you are. Obviously, the founder and CEO of Encore Collective, for those who don't know, which they should. One of the biggest fucking events businesses in Sydney. But let's give us a little intro, bro.
No, you're a good man. I am, as you said, I'm the founder of Encore Collective. It's an event services and content creation business. So we started in about 2013, and it just started off
14 years old.
I was 13, yeah.
13.
Literally, I was 13. And it was just me and a cousin. And he obviously wanted to be a DJ, and I didn't want to be a photographer. I knew he wanted to be a DJ, but I saw photography as a way, not only to just get into parties and make money and stuff like that. I just saw it as an opportunity for us to live a little, to have a bit of fun. So we were 13 years old, rocking up at 13-year-old parties and thinking we're rich as with like 250 bucks.
I remember I heard the story on that Lads at Home podcast. I heard you tell it about how you're in Lebanon and you got the Beats by Dre. Stuff like that.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah. Do you want to tell you that story?
Yeah.
It's a
good story.
That's hilarious. So
it's one of those like 20 years from now when they're doing the biography on you and they pull out these stories and how Encore was founded.
Nah, man. So yeah, for people that don't know the story, it's hilarious how, like we're sitting in this office here, which is awesome. But it literally all started from a lie. And I'm probably like living proof of like fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
So we were 13 at the time when we started Encore, and it always starts off with, when you're 13 years old, there's always that first kind of party where, for me being from the inner west, I went to St. Pat's Strathfield. There's one party where the boys from Lewisham are invited, or the boys from Dillas or Ashfield are invited. And then, from the girls, there's Rosebank, Domremy, Bethlehem. It's that one kind of party where they're all meshed together. Yeah. And that's how you start learning about other people from the area and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it was that kind of first party for our area. And it was a girl named Alicia Muno. And it's funny, I've told her this story numerous times, so she's all in on it. So she doesn't mind me telling. And it was her 13th birthday. And it was also like the kind of first Facebook event for our area, like in terms of that age group. And she put in the event about a month prior to the birthday. Hey guys, my DJ and photographer just backed out on me. Does anybody know of a DJ and photographer? And to backtrack a little, my cousin Richie always wanted to be a DJ. Like when he was younger, he always wanted to be a DJ. He used to love Tiesto, Armin van Buuren. And that Christmas before, I was in Lebanon, and I was walking past like, one of those marketplaces in Lebanon that are like, just ridiculously cheap and just all fake. And I saw a pair of headphones. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get that for Richie for his birthday. Got it for Richie. So he had headphones basically. That was his dream.
Yeah.
So, to get back to.
I know big at that stage Beats. I remember, I think my dad, Beats by Dre. I think my dad nicked a couple fakies for me and my brothers and sisters, but they were hectic. That was a massive thing.
Bro, the best. And like these ones were the Ferrari ones. So like they had like a cool little symbol to it. Yeah. But anyway, to go back to that Facebook event, I was sitting there and I'm like, oh, that's weird. She needs a Facebook event. She needs a DJ and a photographer. That's odd. Richie wants to be a DJ. And then I was just like, it zoned in my head. I was like, whoa, wait a second. She needs a DJ. Richie wants to be a DJ. She also needs a photographer. Mate, it's not really hard to just freaking click a button.
Photo.
Like, without even thinking, I messaged her straight away. I said, "Oh, I heard you need a DJ and a photographer. That's that's funny because me and my cousins do DJ and photography." And she goes, "What? No way! Like, how long have you been doing it for?" And I was just like, "Oh, 2 years." If she did the math, we would have been 11 years old. I would have been in year 6. I would have been in the junior school. And she goes, "Oh, what? No way! How much do you charge?" And I was like, I didn't know what the going rate was. So I looked up how much a cheap camera would be. And it would have been like $250. It was like some really shitty like Nikon one.
Yeah.
And then I go, oh, $250.
Cover the price.
$250 DJ photography. She goes, oh, what? Do you guys need a deposit? And I'm like 13. I'm thinking, what's a deposit? I go, no,
What's
it's all
that?
good. Just pay us on the night. And she goes, oh, perfect. Let's book it in. I go, awesome, done. Me, I'm thinking we're so
That's
rich right now.
hectic.
Mind you, haven't even told Richie yet. I call Richie straight away and I go, Rich, you're not going to believe what just happened. I just booked us our first gig. And he goes, what? Our first gig? For what? I said, mate, don't freak out. You're going to be a DJ. I'm going to be a photographer. We got a gig in a month's time at Alicia Muno's 13th birthday. There's 130 people going. What do you reckon?
That's hectic.
Bro, hung up on me straight away. He goes, what? Anyways, waited like 20 minutes. He called me back and he goes, Matt, are you being serious? I go, yeah, bro. You know what? Let's actually I know I've just jumped into this, but let's actually do this. Mind you, we have no headphones. We got headphones actually. That's all we got. We've got no camera, no speakers, no decks, no lights, no experience. We're 13. We don't have a car, but
Just some fake Lebanon headphones.
Yeah, that's it. That's literally the only asset we had.
Yeah.
And he goes, it took us about a week of convincing. By then we only have 3 weeks left. And he goes, you know what? Fine, that's perfect. Let's do it. Anyway, so we haven't told our parents yet. So we're working behind the scenes. The first thing we do as 13-year-old entrepreneurs, whatever you want to call it, we start designing t-shirts, business cards, uniform, a logo we don't have anything else. And so we get to designing, right? And then the day that the penny drops for our parents is one day I'm at home, and this is how you know the story's old, because there's no we didn't have many laptops back in 2013 in terms of like our family and stuff. So there was only one PC for the family, and I was taking like 3 hours on the PC, and Mum's going like, "What are you doing? Like, what are you taking for 3 hours for? I need to do my work." Yeah. And then I go, I'm doing my homework. I'm doing my homework. Another hour passed. She goes, "That's it, man. I need the PC. I need the computer." I said, "Mum, listen. All right. Richie's going to be a DJ. I'm going to be a photographer. I'm setting up business cards right now. And I'd really appreciate it if you gave me enough time to just set this up." She freaking lost it at me. I'll never forget her and my dad like absolutely abused me that night. They called Richie's parents. Richie
it's weird for 13-year-old kids. It's like, what are they talking about? You think, are they going to go to parties or what's going on? I was
already like in trouble at school and stuff like that. So Mum's going like, "What do you do? You're 13 years old. Like, stop wasting your time." Yeah. This and that. Basically, man, like to cut a long story short, I went back and forth in terms of like negotiating with our parents. And it was like 2 weeks before the party, before they had even agreed to let us do it. And the way that the only ultimatum really was that we pay for it ourselves, we clear our little piggy banks, and they'll drive us. So they'll transport us. Mind you, all the way in the background of this, Alicia's messaging me like, "Oh, here are the songs and da-da-da. Is everything going well?" I'm like, "Yeah, everything's fine. Everything's
like it's sweet."
Well,
that's big for 13-year-olds. Like, you're going to a 13-year-old party, everyone's going to be there. And you said, "Oh, yeah, sweet. I'm a DJ. I'm a photographer. We got this." And like, you got all this.
This is where it gets funny. This is actually where it gets funnier. So we end up like clearing our piggy banks, like I said, and we buy everything. We buy all the gear. And mind you, all my mates are going to this party, but I haven't told them about what we're doing, because if they spoil it, they're gonna be like, "These guys aren't DJs and photographers." Yeah. So we have to do everything on the sly. But we get to the week, and this is why I mean, this story in particular is where I kind of remind myself like we're meant to be here. This is where we're meant to be. It was a week before the event. And we had bought everything. We bought our t-shirts with our names on the back and our numbers, business cards. We bought decks, lights, my camera, a lot of stuff. Everything was looking good, and we wanted to have everything in probably about 5 days before, so that we could start practicing and get everything right. We buy speakers were the last thing to come in, and it was 5 days before. And we call the company, "Hey, is it going to be here?" They're like, "Yep, don't worry, it's going to be this morning." 5 days before, the speakers don't come. 4 days before, the speakers don't come. Because we've hustled everything, and no one knows. Like, all our mates, like they all think they're just gone to this party. We've nailed this plan. 3 days before, the speakers don't come. 2 days before, the speakers don't come. We are calling the company, "Please, we don't have any more money. We can't buy another pair of speakers." And they're like, "It's going to be here in the morning. Don't worry." A day before, the speakers don't come. We are shitting it. We're waiting the whole afternoon, and they don't come. The day we call them, we're pleading with them, because we're 13. We have no more money. They said that it's going to be there the morning of the event.
Far out.
9 a.m. speakers don't come. 10 a.m. speakers don't come. 11 a.m. speakers don't come. Midday speakers don't come. That's it. We're waving the white flag. We're finished. Like we came so far, but we just couldn't get over that last hurdle. And if you remember that podcast I said at Lads at Home, there's that one moment where your older cousin who used to bully you your whole life, he just becomes the man and he just becomes the GOAT. And that was Richie's older brother who drove from his house in Oatlands at about he would have been about 18 years old.
He saw the vision.
He saw the vision. He drove all the way to Blacktown, picked up 2 brand new speakers off the shelves, picked us up on the way and drove us straight to the job. Right? The job starts at about 6. We try and get there like 4:30, just like because we need an hour to set up. We had no idea. We're literally opening up the speakers. There's photos of, I'll send them to you. The boxes are in the corner from where we just bought the speakers. And we're taking forever to set up. And Alicia's going, is everything okay? Is the music going to start soon? We're like, yeah, no, everything's all good. We just upgraded our speakers from the last one. We're reading the instruction manuals. And so, man, my mates are walking into the event and they're going, hey, Matt, you're not a photographer. I'm like, shut up. I didn't even know how to work the camera that day because I didn't even practice yet. That's why I always say, like, God was on our side that day. And, like, we're meant to be here because for some reason, that event went smoothly. Everything was perfect. We got like 3 gigs after that. And
just off the back of that.
And that is the Encore story. And that is why I'll always say that we're meant to be here. So
that's crazy. At 13, but I was probably, I think I was playing PlayStation.
I was as well, don't worry.
That's crazy to go through with that plan, but that's a good story. Something you'll look back on, eh? Is he still involved, your cousin?
No, so Richie, obviously, like when it comes to like all the key decisions and whatnot, he doesn't DJ anymore. Unfortunately, he's working at a building company at the moment, and he's got a pretty good gig there.
Nice.
But obviously, when it comes to like us moving offices and any of these big decisions, like he's involved. Like he without him, we're not here in this office.
Yeah. So fast forward, what is about 7-8 years now? You're in your own office, got a team.
Yeah, we're lucky, bro. We've got a team of about 18 now. So we've got a couple of different services. So it obviously started with about DJ and photography. But now we've got DJs, photographers, videographers, security guards, drummers.
That's come already. I saw your post that it was coming. Have you got that sorted?
So we just got the master license. So we've just got the master license for the security guards. So obviously when events start up again, boys will be ready to go. And we've got about 5 bookings already. So for the security guard, like a new service. Yeah, we obviously threw out the ad in about a couple of P&F groups on Facebook, like for schools and whatnot. So we've got a lot of younger audience events for our security guards. And
that's mad.
Yeah, we're going to start offering out to a couple of bars as well. So
far out. Well, that's hectic. That's a big growth from from a 13-year-old kid to where you are now. Now it's a full-time career sort of thing for you. That's inspiring. But we'll go back to how we met, you and I. I think it was Lebanon camp in Penrith.
I'm trying to think which was that the first. Was that the first?
That's the first time I ever met you. I don't remember too much, but all I remember is nighttime. We're all in the same room for some reason. It's all bunks. 17-year-old kids, 18-year-old boys.
That's it.
You had the deepest voice I've ever heard of that age. The same voice you have now. I was thinking, bro, this guy's a man. Who is this guy? He sounds like a man.
I was the shittest player on the team.
I was too. I was on the bench. But
yeah, we were there. We warmed up the bench together. That's where we were mates.
It's nighttime. Everyone's fucking around. It's the same night that did the fire alarm or whatever. And we almost got kicked out. You're in bed on your laptop. Screen's glowing in your face. I'm like, bro, what's this guy doing? Editing photos at nighttime. You're talking about how you had to edit photos for your business. I'm thinking, fuck, this guy's 17, almost 18. He's got his own business. Editing photos at a Lebanon camp. That's hectic.
That was awesome. Yeah, far out. I remember that camp
with me. Yeah,
that's awesome, bro. I remember that Lebanon camp was awesome. I think that's actually the last game of rugby league I played. To be fair,
so that was for the Newey game.
The Newey game.
Yeah,
so that would have been
Cabra.
That was a week before HSC. So and I remember going to that camp. My parents were like real iffy about it. Obviously, like it's a cool, amazing opportunity. to play for your country. And so they were obviously gonna let me go, but they were a bit iffy in the sense that HSC was the camp was about a week before the game, and then there was the game, and then the day after, like 2 days after, was HSC.
A tight schedule. So that was the last
awesome,
game of footy you played.
I think that was the last game of rugby league. I played a bit of union. I played union this year actually. For that's old boys. That was fun. Like I had a good laugh. Yeah, it was just me and a couple of mates. There was I had do you know Joey Fidel on TikTok?
Yeah.
He was me and him basically were in the same team. I had a good couple of boys, Anthony Angelis, and a good couple of lads. And my brother and all his mates played. So
it's always fun playing with your mates. It doesn't feel like a chore
social rugby union is the best. Honestly,
I've never played union.
So I'll tell you what. So I grew up a leaguey, league, always loved league. I still follow league religiously. Even though I think this season's been pretty shit. Like even just all the rule changes and stuff like that. Man, we won't even bro. If we get into that, that's
a whole other combo.
But in terms of rugby, in terms of playing, union is 10 times more fun to play than league. And if you're decent at league, you'll kill it at union. And that's and in terms of socials as well, if you're there to just have fun, I feel like socials league, it's still got that element of it's not as it's a bit, I wouldn't say competitiveness, but the Reggie's level of union. I'll put it this way: I had a guy on my team who I was there stretching before the game because I come from that background of playing at not at a high level, but like playing around guys who were aspiring to be at a high level, especially like going to Newington. Like they take their prep pretty seriously, bro. Like so, I'm stretching there before a game. This guy is having a dart pre-game, right? Halftime comes, everyone's like drinking the water, the Powerade. He lights up another dart, and then the moment the game finishes, we all run straight to the water. He goes straight to the tinnies. Tinnies, man. He's on the tinnies. And what makes it worse is he backed up the next game. He goes and plays the next game. So like that's the level of
But those are the most fun times.
The best.
I was talking with Brandon yesterday. Our Bassville Broncos team, we're 17. So we're up against Sydney Combined Comp, good comp. We're up against Holy Cross, the Scotty Brooks, and they had some of the Islanders from here.
And Stevanovic.
And then St. John's as well, who had like George Yarak, and that was like the full Bulldogs SG ball team. And we're Bassville Broncos, team of Bass High students, and Brandon from Westfields and a couple of other boys. Jeff played with us too. And Brandon.
Oh, yeah? Jeff's coming by later, actually.
We'd play touch for training on Tuesday. No fitness, maybe 1 or 2 sessions. Our coach, I think, was from jail. We're all scared of him. Thursday ball work. Macca's after training. Turn up to the game 20 minutes beforehand. We were talking about this yesterday. It's funny. 20 minutes beforehand, have a muck around, warm up. Boys are smoking beforehand, smoking at half time. But we play serious too. Like we're playing fun because with all the boys, everyone's tight knit. But we're playing. We want to win too.
Yeah, of course.
Sometimes we played with 8, 9, 10 players, like because people just either had a party or they just didn't show up. And we made it to the grand final against Holy Cross Ride. We lost, but that was the funnest year of footy, like pretty much for everyone in that team.
So you played with you played with Brendan. Halfback 5'8".
Yeah, we were halves pairing.
Oh, you were in the halves.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Me and him in the halves.
What's it like? Seeing. So how old were you when you were playing with him?
So I was a year young. That was 17. I was 16.
And had you played with him prior to that?
I played touch football, a bit of school sport, but nothing like that where it's proper.
How sick is it seeing like a mate of yours that's like grown up through the ranks and like
it's amazing. Like I've always shown on Instagram all the boys debuting. Like there's so many that I played with. Our age group is really talented. So many boys that I played with that have made it. Like Jake Averillo plays for Dogs as well. I played with him at Sporties. I played against Stefano a lot from Tigers. With Tommy Talau, I played at Moorebank and in Sydney Southwest. I played with Isaac, plays for Storm. Was on the
Lumi.
Yeah. He's on the bench this week, but I played with him at school. Funny story, I told Brandon yesterday. He got injured in Buckley Shield under 14s, which is where I got my debut. He did his knee.
Far out.
Well, yeah, I played with him. Heaps of people.
The fair few of the Doggies boys, they're gonna have a good team the next couple of years. They're
it's
building.
like we said, it's crazy just seeing them, live out the dream and seeing what they used to be.
100%. I've even got a few boys that I played with that are playing first grade now. Alex Seyfarth, man. If Tigers give him a good shot,
he's good.
He's going to be something.
That's the thing too. We know how good these players are.
100%.
And we watch, first grade, and I'd say we have pretty good takes on it, but some of these players, bro, they've got untapped potential. They just need the right opportunity or the right consistency.
100%.
I'm a bit biased with Brandon, but if he gets 10 straight games in halfback with a stable team around him, bro, he's a wizard.
It'll be interesting to see the halves combination for next year at the Dogs, because they've got Burden obviously slots into 6.
I'd love to see Brandon at 7 consistently and Jake at 3 in the centers.
Yeah, I think Averillo's definitely a center or a fullback. I think personally,
he's fullback as well.
You got Dufty coming in. Yeah, so Dufty comes in. My backline for the Dogs next year. You have Dufty at fullback. I think you can't leave Shop out anymore. That Aaron Shop. So you got Shop and Averillo in the centers. I know you paid big bucks for Kotrick, and he's a gun winger. He's a gun winger. You put him on the wing, and then the other winger, maybe Corey Allen.
Adokar.
There's Adokar. You got Foxy. Yeah.
That's what I think as well. If Corey Allen has a good preseason, he can go into the centers, and Jake can even play 14. A bit like Dylan Walker type.
Yeah, but I don't think you waste Jake. I don't think you waste
more
Jake.
Game time.
You need him to start. Yeah. So I think, you got Foxy. And then you halves, you got Burden and, let's say Wakeham.
It's good, if they can get the right. But like I said, they need combinations and consistent. Like, they chop and change too much, man.
I wonder what they're going to be paying to make the top 8.
Hopefully, if they can get a good system and good preseason and all that.
They're still a hooker short. Short.
That's why I'm signing like 10 wingers, 10 forwards. Yeah. But sign a hooker, please. But I think Seguiaro is going there.
Oh, okay.
Based on what he's said with his podcast and that, I'm just having a guess. But it'd be a good cheap signing.
You're deciphering.
I'm having a guess because he said something like, the team is going to the good recruitment for next year. And I know that
has he said on a podcast that he's signed somewhere?
He's in talks with a train and trial contract. Right. It's almost done. He just needs to sign.
Did they get that Cook guy as well? Damien Cook's understudy.
They did sign someone, a young.
Yeah, he's got good raps on him actually. Josh Cook, I think his name is.
Yeah, but I reckon Seguiaro would be good for him. It'll be cheap. I know his life's in Sydney, so I'm pretty sure Sydney team.
Yeah.
That'll be a good strike player. That's the Bulldogs.
There you are, mate.
It's crazy seeing everyone go through the ranks, like watching them live out their dream. That's full. I
think we had a good rookie year as well this year. Like a lot of great rookies, man. Schuster. Obviously, I'm biased here, but Sammy Walker.
He's a gun.
Walker.
I still think he's underrated.
Mate, he's severely underrated, and everyone wants to bag him because he wants to run backwards and do all these
I would do the same thing,
mate. He's winning a game. Winners win. He's a winner.
He's smart.
He's a winner, and mate, there's just and everyone will go, he can't tackle. Mate, the bloke is 78 kilos, ringing wet. He's a kid. He's a genuine kid. So I think he's got a bright future. Obviously, Reece Walsh, electric. Dane Laurie,
Campbell as well. Stefano had a big year, man. Footy, bro. Footy's hectic, but you stepped away, focused on your business, yeah?
Yes, sir. Yeah. The funny thing is I never really saw myself playing footy full time. It was never something I wanted to do. For some reason, it was like I played it. I think I got to the age of about 15, 16, and I knew it was never going to be for me.
Yeah, I think it was the same.
But I always played it just to kind of go through the motions. It's something I'd always done. I played since under 6s. So it was like, every year comes along and it's like, sign up.
And then you build your relationships and your best friends at footy.
100%. Like it's just, you kind of become known as the footy guy, I guess you could say, or like, I was never known as the footy guy. I was never that good, but I had, like, everyone knew I was playing footy. So it was just one of those things that I always kept doing, but I always knew that I wanted to do something more. And I wasn't sure at the time it was going to be Encore and what I'm doing now, because I'm in the middle of setting up a couple of other businesses at the moment, which is cool. But I knew I wanted to do something else. So I'm loving what I'm doing now, man. Like Encore for me is awesome. I basically get to do a new job every day in terms of my content creation when I'm taking photos for other businesses as well, because we've obviously branched a little bit further away from just the event services. So when it comes to the content creation side of things, you know, I work with heaps of builders, cafes,
real
clothing
estate
companies, real estate agencies, man. So we've worked with so many different brands, so many cool different brands. We've done a job for Google, like we've done a Google Australia event. So every day I feel like I'm doing something different, and I'm living a different life vicariously through the lens. You know? So if I'm taking photos at an auction, or if I'm videoing at an auction, I'm basically living like an auctioneer. You know what I mean? If I'm taking photos at I took photos at a coffee factory, like I'm working in the coffee factory. You know, so there's just so many different avenues Encore has taken me on, and I'm loving it.
What age or like what stage you reckon you like said, all right, this is it. I'm going to focus on this, and this is what I want to do?
Yeah. So the story, I mean, well, obviously I graduated in 2017, and, being Lebanese, 2018 comes around. So it's like, oh, which uni are you going to? What are you doing for uni? What's your course? And man, I never actually really wanted to go to uni, to be fair. Like it was always something for me I never really wanted to do, but because nothing to be like, it's not that I'm anti-uni, but there was nothing there that really
you needed to do what you want to do.
That as well, but I just honestly nothing. Looking through the courses, nothing interested me. And it's weird because like obviously I had these great aspirations. I want to be this. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to be able to support myself. I want to work for myself. And you do need a degree to do those things in theory. But for me, I said I'm going to learn more by just betting on myself.
I don't think so anymore, bro. I did Bachelor of Business for major in marketing, and to be honest, I got it on early entry. I forgot I'd even applied for it, so I got it before I did my HSC. I didn't know what I was going to do. I thought maybe PE teaching, just both my parents are teaching. I like the kind of career it is with your family, how you get school holidays off and stuff, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. Then I started realizing there's not that much money in that. Like I want something bigger than that. So it came to like January, I think, and I was like, fuck it, I have this early entry acceptance offer. I might just take it. I'm kind of starting to get into business. So I took it. I did it. It was a 3-year course, but post-uni, looking back at everything I've learned, like I think there's much more value in like you said, starting something or even like just getting a job through a cousin at some office as
100%.
As a printer guy, and then learning stuff, being in that environment, because I'm yet to be in like a proper office environment for a long time. So I think 100%. For certain things like business, it's good for me because I stepped into it. I didn't really have anyone around me in business. So it's a good way to network and learn about all those things. But like you said, if you got the opportunity to start or get some experience elsewhere, you're not in debt, you're not stuck to the schedule. I think you can get away with it in some industries.
100%. And so like, obviously I graduated from school and I got the ATAR I needed to go to the course that I was thinking I wanted to do.
What was that?
And that was digital and social media. So communications at UTS. And it's funny, like I didn't really, I mean, this is probably not good advice, but I never really took the HSC seriously. Yeah, no. I was working at Compass Saturdays, which is obviously the cool event back in the day.
Is that where you met that guy, AJ?
AJ, yeah, I used to work for him. So the funny thing is, I mean, now that Compass isn't around, I can probably say this now, but I was working at Compass when I was 17, and I used to sneak out of my house telling my mom I was studying, right? So I would tell my mom that I was going to the state library, that's 24 hours. And I knew she wouldn't believe me unless I had someone that would pick me up and go with me. So I said Andrew Wang. Of course, I had to use a smart Asian. So I got Andrew Wang to pick me up. I would be in my tracksuit and I'd have like my school bag with all my notes in it. But underneath all the notes, I had my camera and I had everything there.
Your business at all costs.
I would leave the house at like say 9:30, 10, wearing Air Max's tracksuit with my school bag. Mum would say bye. Andrew Wang would pick me up in his Tarago, his mum's Tarago, out the front of the house. Mum would wave me goodbye. I think I'm going to the state library. The moment I get in that Tarago, I'm changing. I'm putting on my button up and I'm going in.
You're like a 17-year-old girl leaving in tracksuit and taking off, and she's wearing a bikini and tight shorts.
Literally. And then I'd get changed into my going out clothes, and I'd have my camera in the school bag. My school bag, like I've got videos, I'll send them to you. And bro, I'd get to Compass. Mind you, I'm 17 at the time. Eventually I got to 18, which was about 10 times better. And like AJ would let me in knowing that I've got my school bag. Like I've got my school bag. Yeah. And so I've walked into a club with a Newington sports bag, like with all my notes in there. And I'd work the job, and then I'd come back home, and then obviously just before I walk in home, because my mum would wait up for me. She'd wait till I walk in the front door. So it could be like 2, 3 in the morning sometimes, and I'd get back changed into the tracksuit. She'd be like, "Oh, how was the library?" I said, "Yeah, we smashed it."
I guess if you're good at their job, they're gonna get you no matter what.
Yeah. So I was I didn't really take the HSC too seriously, but I knew the mark I needed to get. Got the ATAR. I needed 80 flat. Literally got 80 flat. And so yep. So I got into uni, and then I doing my course. But as I was starting my first year, I moved into an office in Piedmont at the WeWork building, and that was at 100 Harris Street. And so
this is for what? For Encore?
For Encore. Yeah. So I kind of went straight in. Like I just jumped straight into the deep end. I was subleasing with a friend, MJ Webbs. He's the guy that does all my tech stuff, all my websites, especially setting up these new couple of businesses that I've got coming up. He's like, my backbone. So I jumped into an office there, and that was down the road from UTS. So it was obviously convenient. It was a blessing and a curse because I was always around the city, but I would be in the middle of like a shoot, and I'd get a message from a client, "Hey, can you deliver me my photos by 5 p.m. today? I can, if you get them to me earlier, I can get you an extra, whatever, like $50 or something like that." Right. So I would like leave my shoot midway through and just go down the road, down Harris Street, and start working away. And I'm just thinking in my head, like, I'm only doing uni to tick a box for my parents, and I'm only doing this because
it's all we've been told. You're either a tradie or you go to uni.
It's all we've been told, man. And and obviously, like, we live in a new age where things are changing constantly. Like, there's so many different ways to make money now, and there's so many different ways to live. Like, you only have to look as far as like NFT and crypto, for example. Like, there's so many people. That's a foreign way of living. That's a foreign way of finance and making money. But people need to realize and wake up that this is a new age.
It's a big world.
It's a big world. So I was jumping in between the office and uni, and then I came to the end of my first year, and I mean, I didn't do too well. I just passed. Like, I literally just passed my first year, and then because obviously I was just balancing between working, and obviously like I'm still doing commercial shoots throughout the week and also the events on the weekend. And I just came to 2019, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make a decision here. Like, am I going to go to uni, or am I just going to bet on myself? And I mean, should I tell this story? Okay, if my parents watch, they might kill me. Like, to be fair, my parents might kill me, but I'll just say it. So 2019 came, and I do not recommend anyone take this advice, by the way.
Let me guess, you tell them you're still going to uni?
Yep. So the same, and you know what? It's the same trick where I just got a friend of mine to pick me up from my house and take me to uni, but it was actually my photo editor, Jared. And so we go, and at this time, Piedmont was becoming a bit too expensive for us. So we're in the middle of looking for a new office space in 2019. We stayed there for about the first half of 2019.
They know you had this office space? No,
I don't even think they did, to be fair. I think I can't remember now. My parents, I didn't really keep too much in the loop with Encore, funnily enough. It was just, not that I don't know. I just, they not that they didn't believe. Not that they didn't believe in me, and not that they didn't support me. They supported me a lot. You know what I mean? Like, I'm very grateful for their support. But there was still obviously a little bit of doubt. I still feel like there is a little bit of doubt in the sense that,
it's out of love, obviously.
Obviously, it's out of love, 100%. But it's just, when you're a kid that you've brought up to study hard, to work hard. I'm going to bet on myself, and I'm going to I'm going to take a leap on myself. And whilst they believe that they've trained you and they've brought you up to be strong enough to do so, it's still kind of that element of, oh, why don't you play it safe? You know, like, why don't you just get a
it's
job
scary.
with someone else?
It's new territory.
Security, you know what I mean? Job security. Because the thing is, like with me, no one tells me how I'm going to make my money. Like, you know, I wake up on Monday and I wake up and I go, how am I going to make money this week? And it's not only just me, because I've got guys under me, like my videographer, my editors, who if I don't turn up on a Monday, they're not going to make money for the week, you know? So there's not really much security if you want to slack off a little. So there's no slacking off. So I think they were just a little bit concerned in that respect. So I just didn't really keep them that much in the loop. But 2019, I said was going to be the year that I backed myself. And I said, if this works, it works. If it doesn't, I'm 19 years old. And if I stuffed it up, then I stuffed it up. I made the wrong decision. I'll just go jump back into my course and I'll just study for another 2 years.
Yeah.
And then just live a normal life. So 2019, my parents thought I was at uni. Yes, I can confirm, but I was not. I was at Burwood Library, or I was in between my office, and we were just, grinding away, trying to chip away. And then, bro, like, obviously, in the sense that we worked very hard for it, but I'll always say this, that like God was on our side. Like he cannot do anything without God. So God was definitely on our side in 2019, and the fortune was in our favor, really. And we had a great year, 2019.
Look at it now. I know each end of each year you do like a review, and you show the numbers. You've gone from 200 and something jobs, and then you smash it the next year, 300. What was the last year?
Last year was a little bit slower, but we had 401. Yeah, 401.
Bro, that is a lot for anyone thinking, 401 doesn't sound like much, but basically started off as an event services company. And when do people have events? Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah,
I'm not a mathematician, but it's probably 150 odd days of the year. And 401, that's that's a shit ton of events to fit into that time.
That's pretty sick. It's pretty sick. Obviously, like we factor in the commercial jobs as well, which is cool. So like we were lucky enough to work with some awesome clients over the last couple of years. And yeah, man, so just that 2019 year was that real big year for me, where I wasn't at uni. I had technically no security or or like safety blanket, no plan B, I guess you could say. And 2019, man, we had obviously at that time the best year till date. We celebrated pretty hard. We had a mad Christmas party, which was just awesome. Like that for me, I think when we got to 2019, we had a Christmas party. I was like, bruh, like, is
that the one on the boat?
I was on the boat, yeah, man. Like I was 20 years old at the time, and I can't remember your original question. If you wanted like a key moment, I know you wanted a time, but definitely on that boat, Christmas party, 2019. I mean, like you're off your face drunk. Like everyone's drunk, so everyone loves each other. Yeah. But that moment for me, like being able to host a Christmas party with not only the
Makes
boys
it so real,
staff, but like with obviously like I had a lot of friends and family there. I was like, and we had the whole top deck to ourselves on sea deck. And I'm just like, bruh, we're having a Christmas party.
For your company.
We're having a Christmas party. And like, the bottles come and they say on the table, it says Encore Collective 2019 Christmas party. And I'm like, bruh, we had a Christmas party. And I thought that was the moment for me. I was man, I want this forever. And like, I there's no chance I'm going back to uni. And yeah, man, that was that year. That year was special. And then obviously 2020 came around last year, had a great year as well. But obviously it was very challenging with COVID.
Were you able to maneuver through?
Yeah, well, that was a really, honestly, the way COVID's interesting, man, because COVID for me, I could honestly say it was the best and the worst thing that happened to us, because
a lot of people say that
2019 was very event service heavy, and obviously just creeping into that commercial market. What I mean by commercial market, when we do our content creation, so when we do photos and videos for clients and stuff. But COVID made us reevaluate a little bit more, but obviously not reevaluate, just pivot, in the sense that we can't rely on events. Events won't last forever. You can't make a living off events. And whilst we were creeping our way into that commercial,
because like I said, if you're going to expand, events only really happen Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Exactly.
Nights.
Exactly. So for us, COVID was a point where I felt that businesses were able to tell whether they were a house of bricks or a house of cards.
Make it or break it. Yeah.
If you fall over during COVID, if your business plummeted, obviously, like for certain industries, it could honestly obliterate you completely. But for a company like mine, where we have a camera at the end of the day, we have a camera. We can create things with the camera. We can
free moving.
We're not confined with our services. If you can't adapt during COVID, then I think you're doing something wrong. So COVID made us start pushing our commercial content, and we started coming up with packages that we obviously were price penetrating the market, but it was just our way to get into our foot in the door in that market.
Yeah,
and so
show what you can do.
Things like family photo shoots, commercial headshots. We started doing like content creation packages in terms of like, if you're a company and you just wanted like 50 stock images of you guys doing your work, plus you wanted like headshots, we came up with packages for that. 1 minute promo videos, like we did a lot for a lot of cafes and stuff like that. Then we obviously invested in a little studio space where we had extra lights, so we could bring the studio to you guys if you wanted to do e-com photos and product shoots. And man, COVID was the best thing because we already had built a great reputation in the event industry. And, you know, when things open up again, we already have so many bookings for literally when everything opens up. Like December, a lot of December this year, I mean, it's very hopeful, obviously, in terms of what you can and can't do in terms of the events, but December's pretty much booked out for us right now. January next year is so full, it's ridiculous. So in the events industry, we already had solidified our name. And it was time for us to enter a new market, and COVID made us do that. You know, if we just stuck to our ways and just kept, especially like, for example, if we were on Instagram and we're promoting our photos of us at events and stuff like that whilst we're in lockdown, what's the point of that?
Throwback photos and that,
it's not gonna move you forward. And perfect the way you just said it, throwback. Why would we throw it back? Why don't we throw forward? You know what I mean? Like in NFL, they throw forward, they don't throw it back. Dan Marino, shout out.
That's your sport.
Like they throw it forward, you know. So it wouldn't make sense for us to just stay in that events industry. And man, 2020 was cool because then we even like rebranded to that allowed us to do little things like rebranding to show us moving forward. Actually, like the logo, for example, our new logo that we've come up with here, that's a rook.
I'm just gonna shout out. That looks like I like how there's a LeBron crown there.
There's no LeBron crown. Actually, if you look close, that's actually the LA Clippers inspired logo. So yeah, that's right.
A bit of both.
There's no LeBron in there. Trust me.
We'll move on to them soon. Don't worry. It's in my notes. We'll move on to your Clippers.
There's no LeBron in this logo. All right. But no, it's actually a rook, a chess piece.
Oh, yeah. Because I did, but I look at it, I'm thinking, but like this kind of looks similar. I don't know what it is. Yeah. I can see his letter crown. I can see the letters, but now that you say it.
And before the smart Alex go, rooks can move backwards. Rooks move forward in chess. Yeah. So rooks move forward. And I like that was just, it was a cool moment for us where we said, you know what, like we want to move forward, not only with our events, but our commercial content. And we thought that this logo would just symbolize that a little bit more.
That's nice.
Portray to clients that, you know, we're not just an events industry. We're just not just in the events industry, but we're also in the commercial space. And so, just little things like that. COVID allowed us to do that. And obviously, like we had to do it ourselves, but it gave us an opportunity because obviously it's very easy to think of the whole COVID situation as a negative because, you know, you hear about it every day. Everyone complains about it. And trust me, I'm sick of it. Mate, don't even get me started on it. But you got to find the light in it, and it's a great opportunity for, especially with people being at home. It's a great opportunity for people. I mean, like yourself, like get on a podcast, start a business, and if you own a business, start doing the little nitty gritty things, the 1%ers that usually you wouldn't have time to be able to do, and you wouldn't be able to execute. You know, when we're not in lockdown, we're usually working 7 days a week in terms of we're doing commercial Monday to Friday, and then there's events Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday.
Crazy.
So there's no time to do little things like, you know, different business cards, like, you know, making a little adjustments to your website, getting a consistent flow in your grid on
It's
Instagram.
been a time, but you've been able to see like the real entrepreneurs stand up and stamp their mark.
The way I always look at it, it's either COVID shows you whether you're a house of bricks or a house of cards. You don't want to fall when the wind comes. And I think
sorry, go.
Yeah, what were you gonna say?
Like you said, it's like the right mentality. You can either, sit there and dwell on this and that. We can't do this and that, or you can say, how can I use this to my advantage? Events are off. Let's focus on this.
And the way I look at it as well is like Matt Georges will complain about COVID all he wants. On a personal level, I hate it. I can't stand it. And I'm very negative and down in the dumps about it. But in terms of Encore Collective, I'm gonna look at it in a positive. And so I get the best of both worlds, I guess.
Yeah.
I get all my venting and my negative shit out when I'm Matt. But when it comes to Encore, look at it as a positive. It's a good opportunity. And ride it, man. Hannah Montana.
Good to see.
Best of both worlds.
Well, last thing for business before we move on to the more important, sports and culture. You mentioned before how your parents actually they do support you, obviously them being scared and stuff, but how far does it go to have family and friends support small businesses, especially whether it's liking, sharing, using you guys?
Oh man, it means everything, bro. Like, look, even from the start, my dad and obviously Richie's parents, they were the ones that were driving us to jobs. My dad would drive me to Wetherill Park. Like, he would drive from Croydon. It's far. There's so many places my dad would drive me for jobs. And it's not just it goes deep, man. It's not even just the physical support, in terms of them either lending you money or actually being labor intensive in your business. Bro, emotionally, it means so much. I've had, don't get me wrong, I've had so many nights where I've just thrown a tantrum, you know what I mean? No business owner will tell you that everything is sunshine and rainbows. And there's been so many nights where I'm like, bro, should I have just gone to uni? Should I have just worked somewhere else? And my mum has this kind of philosophy that everything can be fixed over a cup of tea. So mum will always put the kettle on.
That's mad.
We'd have some tea and we'd just spill everything over. And mum's always philosophy is by the time the jug gets to the end, that's it. We've got to solve everything. Yeah. So if that means that she has to re-pour, if she has to get more tea, get more tea. So there's just bro, it means everything. And little things like a share, a comment, it goes a long way. And not only is it uplifting for you as a business owner, it shows people, even if it's just your mum, man. Some people don't even know it's your mum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That comment, share, puts it onto somebody else's feed. Yeah. They see it. They might love it. They might not. You know what I mean? But it's just the fact that that's just the tiniest little thing. It takes not even a half a second.
It's not hard to do. As someone that I don't own any businesses, but whenever you post, I love sharing shit, liking shit. My sister owns a small clothing brand for kids. I love liking, sharing, use my daughter as a model. I don't know, something about it. I love supporting and watching people grow. It's take it back to watching my mates make footy. It's just something about seeing people around us succeed. It's just it's addicting.
Oh, bro, it's awesome. Feeling. And as business owners, we appreciate it so much. It's just, I can't tell you how much a little or a comment means. And especially when it's from someone that keeps doing it as well. It's bro, how can I repay you? How can I repay you?
You repaid me well with you did Natalie and I's engagement photos, which I'll put in the video. But some cracker photos.
I saw the memory from that the other day, actually, man. They were awesome. They were
good cool photos. And the lead up for
what was that? What year was that?
I'll take you back. So I took Nat, it was just her birthday a week beforehand. Obviously we had, for anyone that doesn't know, a daughter at the time. I thought, you know what, this is the time. She's the mother of my daughter. I'm going to spend the rest of my life with her, no doubt. I don't want to call her my girlfriend anymore. I feel disrespectful. I want to make her my wife or my fiance. Yeah. So I got onto you. I seen that you do that stuff. I was I want a picture of it. I took it to the city. That's her favorite She used to go there as a kid. She loved that fountain. It's in Hyde Park, I think it's called.
Yeah.
So yeah, I messaged you. You're like, yeah, sweet. Don't worry about it. You won't see me. I got it sorted. I'm messaging you in the lead up, like, are you ready? It's like we're talking for a footy match. You're like, yeah, I got all the
literally.
gear. I'm set.
Do you
It's
remember?
almost kickoff.
Oh, we
my
were
phone
texting. That was so funny.
I got my phone in my freaking jacket. I'm sweating. I'm like, I can't. We're walking through the park, right? I'm trying to be like at least red hot as I can, so she doesn't suspect anything. Walking through the park, I'm like, I can't see this cunt. Where is he? And I check my phone. You're like, yeah, I'm set. All right, so we're walking, and I see who was the guy you're with? Your cousin? Your
Naif,
friend?
I brought my mate Naif a bib. I
Naif.
always bring a mate with me, just as like assurance. It's just like a safety pill. If something's gone wrong, he can give me like a signal. We can go like whoop, 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 or something, anything.
So
Bro.
I see this guy. I'm like, I see this Lebo guy. I don't know who he is, Naif, standing with an umbrella under a tree in Hyde Park. And I saw you taking a photo of him. You were getting us, but pretending to take a photo of him. I was like,
So he was on the other
guy's...
end, and I was taking a photo of him, so it looked like I was just
Yeah.
taking a photo of him, but you were walking past.
I saw that and I was sweet. I was like, this guy's elite. I felt safe. I know you're here. And
Oh, it's so good.
I tried to not, because Natalie didn't really know you. She'd seen your business and stuff, but she didn't really know you.
Yeah.
So I knew if she'd seen you, she wouldn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
So we're walking to go get to the spot in front of the fountain. I can't see you at this point because I think you're behind me, below a hill or something. I can't see you anywhere. I'm thinking, fuck, should I do it now?
Sniper lens on, man.
But I was like, I don't know. Is he going to get it? I can't see where he is. I'm not going to pull out my phone in this moment. I'm talking to Natalie. She turns around for, I think I threw a rock and I told her to turn around so I can make a wish or something like that.
Yeah.
I pull it out. I'm thinking, you know what? I'm just going to do it. He told me he's ready. I'll trust him. I get down. I do it. She's shocked. And then we have a little moment. And then you come out and it's like kind of like a reality TV show or something. She's like, what the heck? And you come out, you show us the photos. I'm like, bro, that's hectic. You're like half in tears. Bro, it's a good moment. And you're like, do you want to retake the photo? And you could see her fingers swollen. I didn't even get the right size.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, like, you want to retake the photo? Sometimes people do that. I'm like, nah, it's all right. I like the natural.
Yeah.
It seemed like an all right moment. And then, long story short, we get the photos. You take more of us. We get back. They're ready like the same night or the day after.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Right.
I thought this was going to take like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Cracker photos, I'll pop them in there. But yeah, just an example of like through people sharing. Like AJ used to share you. I met you through Lebanon.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? This guy's my mate. Why not use him? I can see he does good work, but I thought I'd use you. And bro, wasn't disappointed. And I told you I'm going to get you for my wedding eventually when that does happen.
Nah, that's awesome, bro. That proposal was so special. Like, not only because it was like, you know, you were my mate and obviously like a teammate, but it was just awesome. Like, it was just that proposal. And I say this, like, I'm not even just because we're on camera at the moment. That's one of the more perfect ones that have ever happened in terms of like.
I swear to God, those pictures are elite. Like, you got the fountain, you can see each drop in the air. You can, it's crazy.
Oh, it was awesome. That was, and you know what, couldn't have happened to a more deserving bloke. But it was just like, there's so many stories of proposals where like something goes wrong. There's always like, proposals are tough, man. Proposals are really tough to execute. And we hadn't gone to the site prior. So I go to site. I literally, actually this morning, like this guy messaged me for a proposal this Saturday. I won't say who because it might spoil it. But it's yeah, man. So we always have to go to the site prior, just so that I know which way they're coming in. I can tell my plan. See how you were a bit like iffy on the plan.
I'd never been there before.
Exactly.
So I'm looking at the maps. You're like, which way are you coming from? I'm like, from the street, and it's like fucking the street around the whole park.
I think that you would have been the proposal I learned so much on, whereby I have to go there before with the client. We have to run through the plan. Like, and now we've kind of gotten a bit crazy with our proposals. Like, we dress up in disguises and stuff like that. There's so many where we dressed up as me and the videographer, Chris Sassine, and I brought my mate as assurance. Always have to bring a mate somewhere. I mean, I pride myself on that. You know, I always have like an entourage with me when it comes to work. And we dressed up as like gardeners, like maintenance men. So we're in high vis because we're in a royal park. So we dressed up as like, high vis, and then so when the girls would come, because it was the girl obviously getting proposed to and her friends, that they thought we were just working on the lawn and like snipping and stuff like that. There was one where I was in a restaurant and I dressed up as a waiter, and like I was like serving a table before.
Anyone that wants a proposal, this is where you go.
Bro, I'll dress up for you as well. I'm gonna come up in like disguises. I've done one
crazy.
where I dressed in camo and I hid in a bush and I had face paint.
What the fuck?
Bro,
and they can't see you.
They can't.
You're actually good at hiding, bro. You're good at disguising.
Bro, I think it's all those years of playing hide and seek with my cousins.
It'd be fun, eh?
Oh, it's awesome, bro. And like it's look, don't get me wrong, it's not always as easy as we're just making it out. Like at the end of the day, the way I look at it is like, bro, this is the biggest moment of their life to date, and they're trusting me to do it.
Yeah.
So like this, whilst I dress up and I have fun with it, and I bring a mate and stuff like that. We do take it very seriously in the sense that, I will go a week prior with the client. We'll scope out the area. We'll run through the plan, make sure everything's going well, so that everything runs smoothly.
It worked out well. I look back on the photos, but my daughter loves to look at them too.
I got some crazy, mate. I got some crazy stories from work. I mean, you could do a whole podcast episode on just my stories from work. Like I've got some crazy ones.
That'll be an anniversary episode 100 with us.
Done.
We'll get that done. We'll move on to the more important topics. Tell me when you need to go too. I don't know how long it's been, but if you need to go, shout out.
No. You till 1, so you got however long you want, bro.
I want to ask you, I see your photos. So for anyone that doesn't know, Maddie's an avid Roosters diehard supporter.
Diehard.
First of all, how did that start? I know you live in, is that area?
No, so the way it started, so my dad played Jersey Flegg for the Roosters, but before all of that, so obviously being Lebanese, we live in Croydon and Burwood, so the inner west. So technically Balmain area. Yeah, so a lot of my cousins go for the Tigers. I got a lot of cousins who go for Tigers, Doggies, Para, St. George. There's a few vermin that go for Souths. Just don't even acknowledge them as cousins. They're just kind of like acquaintances, really, or just people. People that just.
I have a certain family that I'm close with, but yeah, they're diehard Souths, and you can tell.
Like if you go for Souths and you're my relative, like I just feel like you're just an acorn on the family tree. You're not really part of it. Like I don't have a connection with you. I don't like you.
Like a Harry Potter type.
Oh, it's just they're bad. I don't even want to say their name. It's like Voldemort, like thou shalt not be named. You know what I mean? But yeah, so when my dad was younger, I think it was his older cousin, wanted to try and take him to a game, and wanted to take him to a Balmain game to convert him to go for Balmain. Now, little did they know, Balmain were going to play East, and they were going to get tailed up. They got absolutely murdered. And obviously, so my dad naturally started loving the Roosters because of that, but also because being Lebanese, you have a bit of an infatuation with France.
I swear to God, someone told me I have a French mate. My daughter has. I always play on it too. It's a Penelope Alouche. It's my daughter's name. It's so French. I'm part French. And there's a cafe at Cronulla. It's called Next Door, and it's owned by French people. And then the last name's Alouche. So we always play on that French thing.
There you go, your cousins. And so obviously the Roosters colours being the French flag colours. So my dad started going for the Roosters. Him and a few of his cousins started going for it. There weren't that many. My dad's one of 11, so I've got a pretty big family. And all of them, we're the only ones that go for Roosters. And eventually he started growing up supporting them.
As you do, you follow what your dad follows.
Exactly. Well, he ended up played Jersey Flegg with Ivan Cleary.
Far out.
So he started, and he's good friends with Ivan Cleary, and then obviously just stuck around in the club. And he was on like the members board and stuff like that. So he's good friends with like Brad Field.
So is that how you get your photos? I always see at the functions and stuff. You got a photo with Kronk and a photo with Teddy holding the trophy.
Trell's a bit of the guy that's thou shall not be named, but and Teddy and all them. Yeah, so we go to all the events. So dad has stuck around in the club as well. He was on the members board at one stage, does a little bit of private sponsoring and whatnot. So so we stuck around the club. We're pretty prevalent there. Obviously I played a little, my brother played a little, like in Harold Matt's system. My dad played Jersey Flegg, and just been born.
That's how it started.
So we're diehard Roosters, and Yeah, that's basically
Quick
it, man.
thoughts on the year. That
Bro,
just
what a
happened.
year. Like, what a year. No, honestly, great, like great year in the sense that, man, no club could ever endure the amount of injuries that we had and still make it out the other side in terms of being a competitive team. Like the moment this season's over and they open the line for next year into
Mhm.
who's going to win the comp, I'm putting about $100 on the Roosters. I'm not even,
Yeah.
and that's not me being biased. Look at it in terms of 2020. I think we're at the top of the table when Radley goes down, Cordner starts getting a little bit more concussions. Verrills goes down. That
Mhm.
was that horror game. I think it was maybe against like Para or something. It was at Banker
2020, so
Stadium.
last year.
That was 2020.
Yeah.
So we were at the top of the table. We were looking like we were going to three-peat.
Yeah.
Then we start copying all these
I
injuries.
thought you were.
Honestly, I thought we were too. And then, and this isn't me, I'm going to sound so biased. And for the people that like know me, know how much I love the Roosters, they're going to be like, this guy's just delusional. But this year, for us to still be in the hunt for the top four and still be competing with all those injuries, people got to look at like Drew Hutchison. I love him, but he most likely won't play that many games next year or ever.
It's true.
Really.
Yeah.
Sammy Walker, he came off a shoulder Rico last year. He played no New South Wales Cup last year because the comp was finished. He's coming into the league with a rookie
18.
half next to him. No Kiri. He's not even developed yet. You know what I mean? And we're blooding in guys like Suwali. We had a great year this year, and obviously I don't even need to mention all the injuries.
Well, people forget too how you guys started. The first 4 games, like Morris had like 5 tries or something. Teddy was on like 4. Like everyone was like, "What the fuck's going on?" It's going like tries and tries and tries.
Man, we tailed them up. We tailed up teams. Like we played Manly in round 1 and we bashed them by 40. I know they were turbo-less, but like bashed them. It was honestly.
It was looking good. Looking like another premiership team.
Mate, we had a good year. We had a great year, actually. I would say. I think Robinson deserves Coach of the Year, 100%. I mean, if you tell me Bellamy, I won't argue there because, man, that run, 19 in a row is ridiculous. I won't
Post
argue
Cameron
there,
Smith.
Sorry?
And post Cameron Smith as well.
Post Cameron Smith as well. And but I won't argue if you tell me Bellamy, but man, what Robinson has done and the way the club is looking for next year is just the future is so bright. I'm so keen. Like I'm actually so excited. And we got some good players, man. Like Connor Watson coming in. That's awesome.
That's massive.
I still think we have a sneaky signing up our hands. Renoff for Tony from the Dogs. I rate that. That's very Zane Tetavano-esque signing and Sam Moa-esque in terms of like you probably get them cheap and you know they've probably been neglected in the past, but you can get a good 2-3 years out of them, man. And so I'm pretty keen for that.
I saw a rumor. I don't know how far off it could be, but I saw Brandon Smith possibly looking there. But if he's got the money for him, obviously, but he's losing Morris, Cordner, and who else? But you know, as the Chiefs, that makes sense, doesn't it? You're gonna go. You're gonna win comps plus all the off-field shit that you get with it too, all the connections, 100%. And he's heavy into that stuff too.
Yeah, no, he's a very progressive for a very laid back and funny character. He's a very progressive human. I've heard through the grapevine, he was in negotiations to have his next contract signed in Bitcoin.
Parts of it.
Yeah, he wants parts of it in Bitcoin. He's a very progressive.
He's heavy in that stuff, man. NFTs and all that crypto.
NFTs is a confusing space.
It is.
Crypto's cool. I like crypto. I'm a bit into crypto.
I've dipped my toes in crypto.
Yeah. Well, we're in a dip now. So if there's ever a time
to buy some more. So imagine if you guys sign him. I don't think anyone's going to beat you. If everyone stays healthy.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the thing with sports, It's like so unpredictable with health.
Oh, look, 2018 and 2019, obviously we had a great team, but we had a lot of luck in the sense that no one got injured in those 2 years. Like we didn't have any major injuries. There's a lot of luck involved, bro. Like you could even look in terms of like NBA this year. I was going to go into that. Like people will say like the Bucks were just the last team standing. You know what I mean?
It takes hard work to stay healthy. Like it is. Sometimes you get unlucky and shit happens, but you know it's a lot of hard work to actually stay healthy. Like I think the Lakers would have repeated if we stayed healthy. We'd have the shortened season.
I think Clippers would have won it if we stayed healthy.
What's the excuse for the bubble choke?
Next topic.
I love giving you
don't
shit
do
for it.
this
You
to me.
probably get batshit annoyed. I reply to every story about the Clippers, but the bubble track was
Because
bad.
like, it's just, oh, bro. Okay, so the Clippers is that. Okay, I'll tell you how I go for the
For
Clippers
anyone that
first.
doesn't know, you support the Roosters, the Clippers, and
Yeah.
Patriots too, yeah? Pats.
Yeah.
There's something about
Patriots.
them. They're all similar clubs.
To a degree, they all got the colors. They all got the colors.
They just all seem the same to me. Like the Pats and the Roosters.
Yeah, definitely. The Clippers. The reason I go for the Clippers, it's interesting. So not many people notice, but I actually used to go for Orlando Magic because, and this is when I'm like maybe 12, because I just loved Dwight Howard. This was the era of Dwight Howard, Superman dunk, and all that kind of stuff. So I was big on Dwight Howard. But when it came time for me to actually pick a team, you grow up, you get to about 13, 14, and you go, I want to pick a team now.
Mm-hmm.
All my cousins go for the Lakers, as a lot of people in Sydney do. They're very heavily inspired by Kobe. Oh, no, I love Kobe. Kobe's my favorite player of all time.
Yeah,
right there.
I'm a LeBron head.
Yeah. So Kobe, we can get into LeBron. But Kobe is, so Kobe inspired a lot of my family to go for the Lakers. And one thing about me is like I'm always like I'm different.
Yeah,
like I always like to be different in terms of who I go for and who I support. Now in American sports, I go for Boston everything because my mum started from Boston, so my mum has a lot of her family that are in Boston now. That's why I go for Patriots. In baseball, I go for the.
I don't even know where Patriots are. They're in Boston.
Yeah, well, we're in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
So in Foxborough, which is not far off from Boston. Boston's basically the city. So we so obviously in the NHL, I go for the Bruins as well. But in terms of when it came to the NBA, I go, I don't want to go for the Lakers because all my cousins do. Who can I go for that's kind of different to the Lakers?
Next best cliche is Boston as well.
Yeah, see, I should have gone for the Celtics. That's why this whole thing's warped. I should be a Celtics fan. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna rival them in LA, like up yours. I'm gonna go for the Clippers.
That's a big time too. When did you start? Who was in the
around
team?
Around Lob City, man. So and like obviously that may have played a little bit of a factor in it. Like us having like Blake Griffin, who was a rookie of the year. And yeah, I fell in love with the Clippers, and man, we're just so frustrating to support, bro, because we should have won at least during Lob City. The last 2 years, you could say that we should have won one. Bro,
the big choke in the bubble.
The bubble.
I remember watching it. I don't
want to talk about it.
I think I was driving home. I was listening to it, and I was laughing my head off.
I was here. I was in the studio. My studio is in the next room over. I was with Cooper Greenberg. He's actually the owner of this hat company, the streetwear that I'm wearing, 27. Bro, that was so depressing.
Up 3-1.
So depressing.
And the rest is history.
I don't want to talk about it. And this year, the season that just passed, we had such a good opportunity. The boys did so well. I would argue Kawhi fit, we win the thing. We win the chip. I agree.
Fair enough.
I'm so convinced that we win the chip with Kawhi healthy. But you know what? Let's look at the positives. You know, the re-emergence, I should say, of Reggie Jackson, Terrence Mann got some good numbers up there. The future looks bright. I don't know about Bledsoe.
You're a team. Yeah, I haven't been big on Bledsoe for a while now, since he was at Milwaukee.
I mean, losing our heart and soul in Pat Bev and even guys like Lou Will, I'm like...
Yeah. I was very disappointed he's let go of Pat Bev.
That's I'll be honest, we need a true point guard. We've always needed a true point guard.
I would like to see Lonzo.
I would have loved Lonzo. Man, I would have loved even... Kyle Lowry, even if we couldn't, but it's very hard.
But still, with Pat Bev, I think you lost a bit of that identity.
We lost that identity.
He does bring a few technicals and fouls and whatnot, but
yeah, bro. But
that niggle, bro, you need that niggle.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, but I am very hopeful. We got our new stadium, not stadium, I should say, our center, our arena being built as well. The future looks bright for the Clippers. Kawhi recommitted, PG's committed. Steve Ballmer's going to back us to the hills.
I like him.
Yeah, he's cool. He is cool. But, bro, you can just tell, like, Just talking about the Clippers gets me frustrated. It's
It's
been such a long couple
the
of
thing
years.
is, most of the time, apart from things like that choke and that stuff, all it comes down to is I just want to see everyone healthy going at it. I want to see, even though I'm scared, the Clippers give us problems because I think the matchup with the Lakers and the Clippers, it suits you a little bit. And we always get a bit shell-shocked when we verse you, but...
Well, it's interesting because the dynamic of the Lakers has changed completely over one offseason. How are you going to prepare for this? How do you prepare for this team now?
I'm a little bit worried about our spacing with Westbrook, but I do think that they're all smart enough to make it work. Come up with a game plan.
I actually think that because they're at that, a lot of them haven't won yet. They're all at that age now where they're just like, you know what, we just need to win a chip. So
it's do or die.
Whatever it takes to win us that chip, like someone like Westbrook, bro, it's now or never. Like literally,
he'll sacrifice whatever he has to. Melo will sacrifice whatever he has to. I think AD too. I think he'll play a bit more 5, even though they signed a couple bigs.
Dwight Howard's back there as well now.
Yeah. I think they signed Kenneth Fareed not long ago.
Where did DeAndre Jordan go?
He came to the Lakers from the Nets.
Lakers.
It was at the Nets game, which is good for us. I'm glad we took him from there.
Back to LA.
But it should be a good year if everyone stays healthy.
Yeah, I think I am anticipating it'll be us and you guys in the Western Conference Finals again.
I hope so. I was planning before COVID. I was planning on going to a game, Natalie and I, and then I decided to propose to her, spend my money on a ring. But God was in my corner because COVID hit. Everything we would have been stuck there, or would have had to pay some crazy amount to get back. The season got postponed for the game that I was looking at. I was looking at Lakers Clippers sometime around March or April, and it didn't happen. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, they're definitely. I reckon it's I still think though that Nets are going to be dangerous.
They're scary.
I think at full strength they walk through the East.
But I don't think they're equipped enough to handle injuries. I don't think they're deep enough.
Yes, that's true. And we kind of saw that towards the back end of last season. So I think that they'll probably play the Clippers. I'll say the Clippers. I'll say in the finals.
Interesting to see, eh?
It will be interesting, but man, that Lakers team's just scary.
How elite is American sports compared to Australian sports?
We are miles behind. There we are in every aspect. I was listening to a really cool podcast, the Six Tackles with Gus, and he was telling a story about the Roosters.
Is that just a guy named Gus or Gus Gould?
Gus Gould.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was telling a story when he was the coaching director at the Roosters, and it may have been the mid-90s, and the Roosters hadn't had the best season, and they figured they need to start looking to recruit outside of Australia. So they went to the collegiate system, and they picked up a couple of guys from, I think it was Alabama. I think they didn't make the team in Alabama. It could have been Alabama. It could have been somewhere else. I'm not sure. And they brought them over to do a preseason, and they had a good run. They trained really hard. They were like topping some of the exercises, like, little things like bench press and stuff like that. They just didn't get the system, like they didn't get the sport, the rules and all that. But they didn't end up making the team. But towards the end of the preseason, Gus was noticing that the Roosters were a bit restless and that they were like acting up a little bit, and they were, they weren't taking it seriously. And this was around the time, in that 90s where like first grade, like playing first grade and playing NRL, it's becoming your full-time job. Yeah. And they were still kind of caught in that way of like, mucking around throughout the week. So Gus had this massive spiel, right? On, they had like a team meeting and started talking about professionalism, what you need to start eating, how you need to act, stretching, all that kind of stuff, right? And he has a big half an hour talk. He notices that people aren't really listening at all. And then he goes, "Are there any questions?" And no one put their hand up. And then one of the guys from Alabama put his hand up and he goes, "Coach, I've got a question." And then Gus is like, "Yeah, sure. Like, what do you want to ask?" And the guy goes, "I've got a question to the team. How come you guys don't know all of this? how come you guys haven't been taught all of this already?
Yeah.
So he's telling like grown men, and like he's going to them, how come you guys don't know how to be professionals? He goes, we were taught this in high school. We were taught all these drills and how to eat and how to do all this in high school. How come you guys don't know all of this? So Gus was sitting there going, we as not only like a sport, but as a country are just miles behind in terms of building athletes, that this American guy, this Yank, is questioning the rest of the team. And there would have been some first graders there who, I mean, I can't remember the team of the mid-90s that were like, is this guy sweet? Like who is this guy telling us that?
Yeah.
Why haven't we learned this already? But it's true. These Americans, like you see, even like in high school, the high school games, the college games, you know, the crowds.
Bro, I was thinking about that for like at Bass High, with public school, right? But bro, we're having one of the elite rugby league systems there. We're the best. I'd go out and only say we're the best public school probably in the state. We run a couple of comps, and we're competing in the sports schools. We're versing Westfields, you know, Hills, Illawarra, and all that. We've got games at home, at school. Kids are not allowed to come watch. They're only allowed to come out at recess and watch it. Even then, it's like it's kind of, and not all of them watch it, but get a crowd there, bro. Like get some energy.
Having a crowd there as well, it makes you. It automatically lifts your not only your prep but your performance.
Exactly.
And that Yank had a great point in the sense that how come you guys weren't taught all of this to be professionals at a young age? Because in that high school system and in that collegiate system in America, it's like there's a purpose there. There's a real strong purpose, because some people in America would be completely satisfied with having a great college year, and then that's it. Like they live, breathe, eat, sleep college football. Right. And you got to think they're like 18 at the time, maybe 18, 19, you know? So they're already maturing to become professionals at such a young age. Whereas realistically, I mean, you could even tell like some of the guys that we know that have played footy, like they didn't take it really, really seriously till later, you know, and they didn't invest in their prep or anything like that till later. So they're just miles ahead of us. And I mean, that's probably why we're infatuated with their sport, because we don't really have much to compare to, like, you know, the NBL versus the NBA. I know you're going to say sponsors and stuff like that.
But it's also things like, bro, I love seeing what these guys are wearing to their games in the NBA.
The wearing, what they're wearing.
What they're wearing, the outfits they got on, the shoes, what they're listening to, the pre-game warm-ups, they're shooting around, got the music on, they're dancing to the music in the stadium. That's playing Migos.
Well, one thing as well is one thing that promotes as well is relatability. You know, I especially like guys like, you know, for example, like PJ Tucker has like the cleanest kicks ever. But like at the end of the day, whilst they're wearing expensive clothes and they're wearing cool clothes and stuff like that, they're wearing clothes that we could buy. You know what I mean? We have a chance to attain what they have. You can go to thrift shops and you can kind of get cool vintage stuff as well that sort of emulates what they're wearing. So it's like we can start to see that they have personalities, that they're real people. They're not robots. They have their own characters. And guys like Cam Newton, for example, in the NFL, like he has his own character. He wears whatever he wants. And that kind of influences us to think, hey, they're real people like us. We can do that. As opposed to when you watch an Australian sporting team rock up, they're wearing all the same polos, you know, the
coming off the bus, and it will just look like they're marching.
They're robots, you know what I mean? Like it's like they're all like marching the same way. They're all walking like that, you know what I mean?
And if you know these guys personally, like I do Brandon and a couple of the boys, they're so different to that. Like they're
100%.
They're hectic people. They're like us.
And so I think that we look at that and we're like, oh, well, we can only really dress like them or act like them if we make it to their level. Whereas in that American sporting arena, them having their own personalities and wearing clothes that regular people clothes just in a cool way or a bit more expensive and whatnot, it's like they have a personality that shines through. We have a personality that shines through. We can aspire to be like them. Whereas when we watch the NRL teams rock up and they're all wearing like uniforms, like, and they're all like robots and they're all wearing the exact same thing, it's like, oh, well, I can only dress like that or be like that if I get to that level. The
whole game needs to change, like down to what they can wear, what we market, even things like 100%. Have you been to a game lately in the last couple of years? The music they play?
Yeah.
What kind of music? They play for 50-year-olds. I see videos of an NBA. I got Migos playing, Drake playing. Like
I think the Doggies like Doggies and
It's starting.
Parramatta are starting to become a bit more progressive.
Yeah.
There's a cool group, sound agents who control the Parramatta games. I think they've started doing Newcastle's games as well.
Yeah, it's getting better, but bro, it's so different the way they market the game. Eh? I wish
100%.
it was different because I love being a diehard supporter of. So I always give you shit for supporting the Clippers. I love the rivalries. I love being a diehard supporter of players and clubs. So
100%.
hopefully we change. Going on the NBA, I wanted to ask you a question. You're big into WWE. If you had a starting 5 NBA team, WWE wrestlers.
You want to laugh? We just did it. Me and a few of my mates. We did a starting 13 for rugby league for the WWE. But all right, we'll do NBA. Okay, center. I mean, it's kind of hard to go past a great Khali.
Yeah, I was thinking it too. Yeah.
If you're gonna have a center, you got to go the great Khali for obvious reasons. Power forward, I go the Rock. I go the Rock power forward. I think that's a dynamic one.
I'll match you with Lesnar.
Are we going old guys or are we going even some new guys as well?
Everyone, old, new.
Everyone? Okay.
I'll match you with Lesnar at power forward.
Oh, okay. That's very good actually. All right. Small forward. Actually, no, let's go to point guard. Who's a playmaker? I'm gonna say like out of bias because he's my favorite guy right now, AJ Styles.
Okay.
AJ Styles is such a good wrestler. I love him. I mean, he probably isn't the best pick he probably doesn't make the starting 5, to be fair. But I love him.
I'll go to Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio, okay. Small forward. I'm going to jump to small forward. I love Cena. So I'm going to put Cena in there.
But I was going to, in my head, I'm thinking, if this guy doesn't say Cena in this team, I'm going to flip it.
No, Cena's the greatest of all time. Cena is the greatest of all time. There is no debate. All right. People can tell me Hogan. People can tell me Rock. They can tell me Stone Cold. So I've got a very long I've got a long list of arguments for Cena to be the GOAT.
He is.
Not only did he enter in an era whereby social media was starting to come around and there's trolls and there's higher expectations and you need a bit more to sell more. Whereas back in the day, Hulk Hogan, what did he have? He had a leg drop and he had a slam. He had nothing, right?
Cena was rapping. Cena was freestyle.
And people are going to hear this and they're going to be like, oh, he had the five moves of doom. I'll argue though that the 2015 run, his feud with Rusev was one of his best runs, and he was getting older. He actually kind of retired. He retired.
He's been in the game for a long time.
He had a good match actually with Roman Reigns a couple of weeks ago. He was progressing. He was starting doing some really cool moves, springboard stunner. But why I think he was the GOAT is because longevity lasted. Had one of the longest runs. Obviously, multiple championships, 16-time championship, 16 world championships, through an era that, firstly, pre-social media, but also, so he wasn't in the attitude era, more so that PG kind of era.
He had a lot of expectations to live up to,
bro. And honestly, people can say, like the people that went let's go Cena stuff.
Yeah.
For you to be able to generate pros and cons, like people that hate you and love you,
it's crazy.
Merge it into one and still deliver, and still week after week. You got to remember, he was fighting. So the way that the WWE works, they were doing like live shows. I think the only days they have is Wednesdays and Thursdays, but they're doing live shows in between, plus a Monday. It's between a Raw and a SmackDown, because for a good about 6 or so years, they were SmackDown and Raw together. Yeah. So he was doing both shows, he was doing both shows. And for him to have that long a run through an era whereby social media, if Hulk Hogan was wrestling during this social media era, he wouldn't have lasted a second, because people would hate him. Yeah. He only has 3 moves. Yeah. He's stale. He's boring. People even saying that about things like Cena to still be able to putting bums on seats for as long as he did.
He's the face of wrestling for a long time. Even things like, bro, when I think of Make-A-Wish Foundation, I think of Cena.
100%.
All the stuff out of the WWE. He's done a lot of shit. So that's led me into where I want to go. All those things you said: longevity, face of the WWE, multiple championships, stuff off the court.
Yeah,
he's the GOAT of wrestling. That would if you translate that, that would make LeBron the go to basketball. He walked into my trap here. You said everything about LeBron. Longevity, expectations coming in as an 18-year-old from high school, living up, surpassing those expectations, multiple championships, stuff off the court, all round, he is the greatest basketball player of all time.
Okay. We're gonna get back to that WWE topic later because I got to get my shooting guard in.
Yeah, you do.
But
You just walked into my trap. I had to say it.
Hold on. Okay. So,
No disrespect to the man on your wall behind you.
Yes, no disrespect, Kobe. Okay. The GOAT, right? Okay. I see both arguments for MJ.
Let me just rephrase this too. The greatest basketball, player of all time. Not necessarily the exact best in this one game situation, the best basketball player you want, but the greatest basketball person, the greatest NBA person of all time, I'd say is LeBron.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I say that LeBron's the greatest athlete of all time. I say LeBron's the greatest athlete of all time. And people, and that's like, when
you look at the numbers.
Well, when you got to compare the sport as well for NFL, for example, right? You can't say Brady is the greatest athlete of all time. Well, he doesn't play defense. You know what I mean? Brady's probably the greatest competitor of all time. I definitely agree. I love him. Like he's my greatest inspiration. But in terms of athlete, no one's doing what LeBron's doing at this age. That's the biggest thing. He's the only guy that can defend 1 to 5 in a final series and proven it as well.
Jumps through the roof.
Obviously.
He's fast as fuck.
Chips at 3 different teams. So he's a winning formula at 3 different teams. I know people are going to say, oh, Miami, the big 3, whatever. It doesn't matter. He that Cleveland one was huge. That's a huge one. And people can say, oh, Kyrie bailed his ass out. Shut up. Shut up. All right. And obviously,
the sheer size and speed of him for that size is crazy.
I mean, he got lucky in the bubble because the Clippers weren't there. But look,
I just want to throw in this. I want to stay on LeBron, but in terms of athlete, I want to throw in the guy in the back of your wall too, Sonny Bill. I think he's very underrated for the greatest athlete on the planet.
Extremely underrated in that conversation. People are going to laugh. I can already see them fucking laughing. Like, Sonny Bill, you're biased, Roosters. He's an Australian. Shut up. Like an Australian athlete, mate. Winning formula. Let's go. Winning formula at not only league in terms of 2 different teams. Union, and then people are going to say the Bulldogs won. He was a rookie. It doesn't matter. He was a gun, right?
I did have the Roosters too, but
moves it over the Union, right? His first year at Union with the Chiefs. I think it was his first year at the Chiefs. They won a comp. They won the Super Rugby. So he wins with the Chiefs. 2 World Cups and International Rugby League Player of the Year, basically like the gold. And boxing. And people are going to say, well, he hasn't fought anyone properly. You know what I mean? Francis Boffa. And yes, Francis Boffa was old at the time, but he beat him.
He's had a better career than most at boxing.
100%. Sonny Bill's I'm obviously a little bit biased, but I love him.
I love him too. But yeah, LeBron.
So LeBron, okay. Now let's go to Jordan. So people want to say that, I mean, the 6-0.
The look on your face, I love it.
6-0 is huge.
Competition.
The only thing that I'd argue, though, in 95, was that the first year that he wasn't there, 95 or 94?
That he left?
Yeah.
I think it was 94, 95.
94, 95. If it wasn't for a bullshit call in that game, in the game where they could have made it to the finals, they probably make the finals and they probably win without it.
Yeah, but then you can argue, injuries and stuff. And LeBron's end in 2015.
By the way, what I just said there contradicts everything I'm saying. So that was just pointless.
True.
That was pointless.
But competition as well.
Look, I don't want to say LeBron's the GOAT.
You could go on, but you get
so many arguments. There are so many arguments that everyone's said before with Jordan and whatnot. I mean, the 6-0 is the biggest as well, and obviously all the records and I think people as well are a bit tied up on the fact that look, I'll be honest with you, because I know everyone wants an answer, and I'm not going to be one of those fence sitters. I'm leaning towards LeBron. I actually am.
The thing that tips me over too is, I don't agree with everything he does and says off the court. Is obviously everyone has their business interests at
LeBron?
heart with what they do, but the things that he's done off the court tips me over because coming to the league at 18, crazy.
Yep.
Social media era,
Yep.
crazy.
Yep.
Expectations. They were saying like people were saying, oh, I can't remember. He had an interview and before he even came to the league, and it's like people were saying if you don't get Rookie of the Year, you're a bust. Like, but you don't like this guy hasn't even entered the league, and his expectations are through the roof, and he surpassed them. And then he's had not one like scandal, bro. Not one scandal. He may have paid people under the rug. We don't know.
Yeah,
But
people will say
at that stage, something would get out. Not one scandal all these years. He's with his high school sweetheart, which same story, me and him. Had a kid I think he had a kid at 18, 19. He's got another 2 kids. Like, it's just crazy.
I think as well, the conversation gets a little bit skewed when, and I think this is a legitimate argument in terms of greatest and best, right? Yeah. Now, greatest people are very bullish on the Jordan conversation. And I'll be honest with you, it's hard for me to actually bat for Jordan as heavily as I would purely because I didn't live through it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So the people that will bat so hard for Jordan, right? He was the greatest of their era. They lived through his greatness. You know what I mean? So, and because he was, I mean, people will say, oh, there's Dr. J before him.
He transcended basketball, man.
Yeah,
like
there was Dr. J, there was Magic, there was so many guys before Jordan that were great. And people might argue that they're the greatest of all time if they lived through that era. But because MJ was the first to really transcend the planet and like be relatable all over the world, people will say that he's the first greatest. He's the first greatest undeniable. So then when the LeBron argument starts to come in, people go, nah, it's MJ because he was the first great. I lived through that. I saw it. He was the greatest. Whereas but if people are being realistic in terms of the best, it's LeBron. It is LeBron. He's the best athlete. I almost said greatest. He's the best athlete.
Yeah. Jordan was more of like an unbeatable force in that period of time.
40 years old and playing. He's going to be 40 years old and playing. And people are forgetting he's still doing well. The last 2 years, he's changed positions completely. He started playing point guard and he's killing it. He's
a positionless player. He can play. Yeah. He plays to whatever he needs to play.
Yeah, he's a freak.
That's what's crazy about him.
And I love how you've segued me into saying that. And it's all good. Kawhi's going to shut him up this year anyway, so it's all good.
We'll see. I do like Kawhi. I like him on and off the court. We need a little bit of music before I let you go.
Yeah.
The Encore office. Shooting guard. Sorry,
my shooting guard. Oh shit. Okay, so we got Great Khali. We had AJ Styles at point. We had Rock at power forward. We had Cena at small forward. Great Khali at center. Shooting guard. On top of my head. Jeez, there's so many. Oh, shit. I got to think quick. First guy that popped in my head was Jericho because I love Jericho. I think he's still killing it in AEW now. Like, he's just one of those guys I just love. So I'm just going to just throw him out there. Probably not the best pick, but I'm just going to throw him out there.
I'll take Shawn Michaels just on the fact that I used to love doing the DX thing when I was a kid.
Good man. Good pick. Anyway, music.
But yeah, the Encore office. Someone said it's the pinnacle of music videos in Australia.
Oh, mate. It is.
If you don't know the Encore office, you won't be able to tell which, where these videos are shot and which ones are from there. But what's going 100%.
on? So, bro, so where we are right now, it's the old Vision Australia building, and for some odd reason they picked up and left. Like, they just left, and it's a deserted office. Like, there's obviously it was a short-term lease here. That's why we're actually on our way out to Homebush. We're moving over to Homebush in a business park there. And it's just deserted, and it's a huge building. And there's like a factory vibe at the top. Like, there's a rooftop where there's been a few music videos that we've shot up there, and I've got access to the roof. I mean, I had my Valentine's Day date.
Yeah,
there.
I saw that. That was cute.
Yeah, it was cute actually. But yeah, it's odd, and I've got a few good friends in the industry. Dom Saben is one of my really good mates, and he's an awesome filmmaker. If you haven't seen any of his videos, you have to watch him. He does a lot with guys like Shelly, Crazy Cam,
Baby Bax jumped on it. Jordan Bax,
Baby Bax did his, and because we've got a studio here as well. Baby Bax did his music video here in our studio, and then also just down the hall, because I wish I could. I mean, I could kind of just show you a little. Like it's like, see how that is just
Yeah.
like deserted area. It's
Yeah.
like old and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. So, and obviously, you know, Dom being a good mate of mine, he's like, "Oh, bro, can we shoot a video in your studio, which is just over there?" I'm like, "Yeah, bro, 100%." And
I
then
love it.
as him and it was Shelly and Baybacks, they're walking through. They're like, "Hey, bro, can we shoot in this room too?" And I'm like, yeah, why not? Like, I don't have the key for it, but yeah, sure. And just like without even hesitation, oh, sweet, open the door, just like start shooting. And then I'm like looking around and I'm like, bro, and obviously as we start getting familiar within the building, there's just so many cool spots. Like, and because the building is so big, like we've had parties here on the roof. Like I had my Australia Day party here last year, like on the roof.
I saw that one.
Obviously I can say now because we're leaving the building. But,
for KFC.
You know, it's awesome, bro. And we had Burrows Digital. He's a filmmaker, or I should say cinematographer from Canberra. He did a really cool video with BVLE. That was a really, really cool song. They did that on the roof. They did that in multiple rooms here. That's mad. It's pretty cool, man. And it's awesome just like if we can in the tiniest way support like Aussie music, because like
it's great. It's going up, bro. It's going up. It's cool to see too. Like Younger Lips, I think I'm being a bit biased here. He's the top of Australia right now, top of the food chain. I went to school with him.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Primary school and high school.
I think COVID, like in terms of the travel restrictions, has been absolutely criminal to him. Like criminal, because he's the guy I can see really paving the way for Aussie music. And
I love him.
I think there's obviously like I'm really, really big on so many guys that are pretty big right now. Love Chilling It. Chilling It's like obviously a little bit in a different scene.
I don't really listen to his music, but I like following his Instagram. It's funny.
I'll be honest with you, the best lyrics I've ever heard in my life from any artist ever. I
can't listen to just like the rap AI. Like I gotta.
You have to be in a state and you have to really listen to his words.
Yeah,
Chilling It. I'm huge on Chilling It, and before him, I know he'll credit like Hilltop Hoods for being guys like Hilltop Hoods, Pez for being the trailblazers in that scene. But I love all the new guys that are coming through, bro. Like I'm really big on love Younger Lips. I'm big on Hooligan Hefts. I like Hooligan Hefts. I like Day One. HP Boys. You know what? It's funny because you're meant to kind of pick a side. Who you like?
Why? I hate that, but like, why? They can just lift each other. I know there's area beef.
If you're involved in the area beef, you might need to pick a side.
I grew up in this environment. Me and Lips, we caught the bus together. We, Cabramatta Station every day to school. We went to school together. Like I grew up in this environment, and he may have got a little bit involved in that and studied the people around us. I just don't get it, bro. Like.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. Outside forces influence people, but I think it's stupid. We should just all support each other. It'll be hectic. It'll catapult us.
At the end of the day, we're all Aussie, and
exactly,
we all want the same thing. So I don't understand why we.
Everyone can eat.
Yeah, 100%. But I'm very bullish on a couple of the Aussie artists at the moment.
Sweet. I want to ask about your mate. I personally love him, John. He's from Bernard. He's the funniest bloke. And I'm talking before TikToks and COVID. I messaged you, bro. I can't take this guy seriously. I see him in like a bit of your Encore stuff and the gym stuff. Yeah. I can't take him seriously. He's so funny because he's doing the I think is it called Nexus or Nevis or something?
Nevis Group. He's part of Nevis Co. Yeah. So he does
I've seen him in that.
The show Forecast. They do a lot of their scenes here. So the Forecast is obviously run by Nevis Co, which is a group that's was founded by Jack Carney, a really awesome filmmaker.
He's the one that does the referee.
No, that's Jake. Jake Cairns. And we all went to school together. These boys are all about 3-4 years older than me.
But they're funny.
They're so good.
And John Bernard in particular, I was so happy to see him. Like, I loved how he milked the COVID thing, going into, how he got the numbers and the formula he had, the K-Roots formula. But I was mad to see him ride that wave. It just reminded me of Sons in Fall guy. He was
maybe off the record I can explain a little, but it's that was so cool. That was an awesome run. Like I know he's got aspirations to talk about it a bit more in length maybe later
on his own terms.
But man, the story, the whole wave, that story, that like obviously I'm a bit confined in what I can say, but one thing you got to like picture is that he's like us, he's our age, and you got to think we're in the news, in the paper,
This kid,
or like on
this
Whip
man,
Straight,
this young man was on how many news channels?
right?
He's on Fitzy and Whipper. He's on the nine, like Sunrise
He
and
was on the
shit.
morning show.
And but for people just think, oh, it's a TikTok thing, but he's actually been at this shit for quite a while. He's been making
Yeah,
videos,
bro. That's one thing like that
and
he
that's what I
really
love
wants
about
to
it.
convey soon is that like people were like, oh, this is a TikTok guy. He just got lucky, got a lucky break, 15
Nah.
minutes of fame. Nah, bullshit. He's been doing videos for ages, and not just him. Jake, the ref guy, but also Jack Carney. Like a lot of the boys will credit
Yeah,
Jack Carney.
I was following
what they've
the
done.
forecast for it, and that's what kind of,
Forecast.
to be honest, that's what kind of unconsciously influenced me to start a podcast, because I know he'd been making videos for a long time. All it takes is, one good episode or one good thing to happen, and look, you blow
100%.
up and you can make a career out of it. But how is he?
100%.
Is he all right at the moment?
Yeah, BK, yeah, he's good. He's all good at the moment. Obviously, like in the news for the wrong reason at the moment, but nah, he's all good, bro. He's back on his feet. I think he'll probably kind of explain his side of everything, and he'll explain his story in his own time. But yeah, no, he's good overall.
Following
his, but in all of it, it's been a crazy story in the sense that, bro, just a kid, like just a kid having a laugh.
Right, he's got a career in this shit because he is funny. If anyone hasn't watched his videos apart from COVID, the bloke is funny.
Yeah, and we encourage a lot of people to watch all his stuff prior, because he's really good value, and not only his stuff but the forecast, bro. Like they're awesome. They're the whole thing, that whole group. Jake's doing his good stuff with the ref stuff as well.
Yeah, they're just like, people got to realize they're just like any other actors as well. Like
100%. And everyone's got their opinion on BK at the moment, John, as everyone calls him. I'd love for them to just sit down and have a beer with him and tell me what you think of him after it. But he's good, bro. He's good.
I love him.
Some new videos coming.
He's the man.
So, yeah, he's good. He's good.
He's
man.
funny. Yeah, we're almost at 2 hours. I've got a couple quick questions just to
go for it.
Just a 7 tackle set as I made up with Brandon yesterday.
Beautiful.
I'll just give you 7 quick questions just about yourself.
Yep.
Get to know you a bit better. First one is, who's your favorite athlete?
Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady. He's my inspiration. Love him.
He's the man. What's your game day or hype song?
Ooh, you want to laugh? It's changed recently to Here by Briggs. It's actually the Fox League song. I love that song. That's my new G-Up song. So
is it the tune that they do?
It goes dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, I think I know.
Have you heard the original?
No.
Bro, listen to the original.
But I do. There's something about when Fox Leagues, they play, if it's a tune I'm thinking about, it gets me G'd for footy.
Bro, trust me, it's changed. It used to be before that. I'm trying to think now. It was a real old school song. I'll send it to you. I can't even remember now because it's ages since I've played proper footy. But now Here by Briggs, that's a good one. And I loved Champion. Can't remember who it's by, but it was a promo of CM Punk versus The Rock. It goes, I'm feeling 10 feet tall, unstoppable, I'm the champion.
Yeah.
It was a promo for CM Punk and The Rock in
Takes you to that moment.
Yeah. So it was at the Royal Rumble, that pay-per-view. So that promo was the song, and I used to love that. It was 2013.
I used to be black and yellow with Khalifa. It was the colours of our school team. Every time before the game, we're pumping that song. It just gets you ready. But now I've moved on to anything Young and Lips because of the story. And, if he can make it, anyone from here can. So that's cracker. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Tokyo. Always had an infatuation with Japanese culture, and I've always dreamed of owning property in Tokyo.
That's something different.
Very different.
If you could only eat one food or cuisine forever, what would it be?
Probably sushi and Japanese cuisine. I love.
What?
Yeah.
I have 2 things for you. I thought you'd say KFC one or Lebo cuisine.
Yeah, but it's not a cuisine. It's not a cuisine. Oh. And I always think about if I love KFC. Everyone knows I'm a KFC guy. Like Where's the
Yeah.
buckets? The buckets are there where my plan is.
Yeah.
Yeah, KFC is my like thing, but sushi, because it's just so like, you know, you got your carbs,
It is
you got your
good.
protein.
Yeah.
I never get sick of it, and it's relatively healthy. I know it's high in fats, but it's relatively healthy. So
My
I've thought
daughter
about
can
that one before though, because it's sushi.
my daughter can like straight out eat since she was a year and a half, 2 chicken and avocado rolls. Like, but
That's
she
heck.
pumps it.
Yeah.
What's your biggest fear?
I don't know. I'm not really afraid of anything like as in terms of like, you know, some people are afraid of like snakes, sharks, and all that kind of stuff. Not really afraid of anything like that. Oh, geez. Oh,
We're going
I'm
deep
gonna be
here.
honest with you. I'll be honest with you. South's fucking winning the comp. If South's in the comp, bro, that's my
Especially this year.
bro. It's almost blasphemy for me to say this. I was kind of happy when Manly beat us because I knew we couldn't stand a chance against Souths this year with our current run of
And
injuries.
they'd get to the grand final.
Manly can bash them, bro.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, Souths.
I have Manly to win too.
It's probably the wrong answer. I probably do have a fear somewhere that I can't think of at the moment, but South's winning the comp
That's a good
scares
one.
daylights out of me.
Where do you see yourself in 6 years?
6 years, definitely married. How old am I now?
Oof.
22.
If the missus is watching this, oof.
Oh no, she knows. She knows. But I can say that in full confidence. Yeah, definitely married.
Nice.
Not sure if I've got a kid yet, but living somewhere with her, very happy. The businesses
Still Encore?
Yeah, definitely Encore. And obviously a few others that I'm setting up at the moment right now. I'll talk to you about them off air, but yeah, so just them thriving, and obviously just still with my mates, like the ones that I have now, because I've had a pretty good solid group. I know a lot of people say, you know, keep your circle small, but I'm pretty blessed with having a big circle that I'm very close with, and just being close with all of them. All of us doing the same thing as we do. Like we have our summers together that are unreal, and like, you know, and our Christmas parties and stuff like that. So, yeah, man, definitely just happy, healthy.
Kind of the same as you're in right now.
Yeah, man, just hope for a couple more zeros on the end of the account.
That's it, bro. If you could choose anything to do for a day, what would it be?
Oh, from start to finish?
Yeah.
A whole day?
A whole day.
Oh.
Whatever you want.
Oh. Anywhere in the world?
Anywhere. Brandon said he'd spend the day off Mayweather.
Oh. Dang. Man, that's a big choice.
For me, I'll give you mine what you think. I would, anything for a day, I would Lakers, NBA Finals, Game 7 against the Nets, so some of the big rivalry at Staples Center. LeBron, in a little bit, couple of years before, I want him a bit more athletic in his prime. Front row seat, that would be the dream.
So you're just doing one event, or do I get to wake up and I get the whole day?
You can do the whole day, but that's just the only thing that I want. Yeah. Whatever happens, I could get hit by a car after that game. I'd still choose that day.
Can I be in, do I have to be in this universe, or could I be in the Marvel cinematic?
No, anyway.
Universe?
We didn't even talk about Marvel.
Well, here we go. Now,
Marvel.
I got a time machine.
I forgot to talk about Marvel, but big Marvel fan you are, so am I. I'm actually just playing a PlayStation game, but
huge Marvel fan. So if you just told me that I'm in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, well, then I can time jump. So, and if I got the time stone, I can go wherever I want in one day.
There you go.
So, honestly, bro, if it was
just quickly on Marvel, who's your favorite
character? Thor for sure. I love the dynamic of Thor. They've changed his. They kind of made him they gave him. He had a bit of a. There you got Hulk over there, like that.
Ever since I was a kid, I don't know why.
Nah, it's good. It's a good pick. I love how they gave him there was a bit of comedic relief with Ragnarok.
That was a good movie.
They probably moved him a bit too more comical. When it came to Endgame.
I think so too.
By now,
I was a bit disappointed. Like he didn't really get to his full potential.
Nah, he never did. And I'll be honest with you, I don't like how they've manipulated with certain characters to be stronger than others. Like Captain Marvel is not even in the top 10 in the real comics.
To be honest, I'm all for female progression in that space, but like I just feel like her character was unnecessary to everything. I'm not big on comics. I don't know if
They've made Wanda especially
I
unnecessarily powerful.
personally, she's very strong one. I do like her character. She's a bit too strong, but like I don't know why Captain Marvel even came in the first place. I don't know if she's in the comics or I'm not big on the comics,
No,
but
she is. Yeah, she is. Carol Danvers is a very prevalent character. She's a very strong character as well. But to be honest, there are adaptations of the Hulk, like Red Hulk, World War Hulk, that you'd argue would be able to match it with her. I mean, there might be some enthusiasts who will come up
Hulk
with a
has to
couple.
be. Hulk can't die, can he?
There are different adaptations. He can die. He can die. But it just depends if he's in his human form and whatnot. But yeah, look, for me, Thor, I love Thor, always loved Thor. I think they did sway a little bit too much by making him a little bit more comical when it came to Endgame. But I just love the prestige of, son of Odin and, king of Asgard.
Plus, he's Australian.
Yeah, and I think him portrayed by Hemsworth is just unreal. I mean, I love Black Panther. And I love the character of Black Panther well before even Chadwick Boseman's portrayal of him. An underrated character who they're bringing in soon is Moon Knight. Moon Knight is a freaking gun character. He's basically Marvel's version of Batman in terms of a billionaire. Comes out at night, obviously vigilante. I mean, the billionaire kind of character is portrayed by Tony Stark and Iron Man. But yeah, Moon Knight's a really cool, underrated character. So yeah, there's and he's coming in soon. And
you haven't even mentioned your boy Spider-Man. I know you love Spider-Man.
I do love Spider-Man.
I do
love Spider-Man. I think he's just become a bit of a generic answer. So I've slowly swayed away from him. And you know what, Ben? The more
bit too mainstream.
Yeah, definitely. And the more he's always been really cool throughout the comics, but the way that Doctor Strange is portrayed is freaking epic.
Yeah, he's underrated.
Bro, I pretty much named them all. I love it.
It's hard.
Shout out Cap. I love you, Cap.
Cap's a bit lower on my list. I liked him as time went on. He got a bit cooler, but yeah, nah.
So what am I going to do in a day? Bro, I could go forever. So let me just say, if there was one event I could go to like, let's say, like if there was one place in time I could go to, jeez, this is so hard. I think one of the coolest moments, honestly, and it's probably not one of the main places. No, actually, you know what? I know exactly where I'd want to go. Super Bowl against the Falcons, 28-3 down, 27. So in 2017, yeah, that's the Super Bowl I'd want to go to be honest. Because we were down 28-3. I was in year 12 watching it. And I watched the whole game. I was streaming it on my laptop, carrying my laptop everywhere I went. And you know what's funny? At 28-3 down, I actually knew we were going to come back. I knew Seriously? It. I felt it. I was not nervous. I promise you, I was not nervous. Angus DeVal in my English class, he can testify to this. Harry Carr can testify to this. So many people in English that day knew that I was feeling it. And when James White ran over for the last touchdown,
that's hectic. Imagine being there, but their crowds, their atmosphere is different. Everything's different there.
I mean, I could pick 1,000 things to do during the day. I'd probably be at maybe Disney World with the boys. And so Disney World with my circle, then going to the Super Bowl with all of them. If all of us were together, so let's say Disney World throughout the day, and then we go to the Super Bowl at night, which I know it's in completely different cities, but anyway.
Make
it happen. And then that's if I'm on Earth. But if I'm in the universe and I got a time zone, I'll go everywhere in one day.
I love it. A last question before we wrap it up.
Talk to me.
If there could be one more guest on this show, I'm 2 episodes deep now. I've had Brandon, I've had you. Gonna upload them soon. If there's someone that you'd like to see me get on here, who would it be? And when you answer, I need your help getting them on.
Okay. I'm gonna say, so many people. I know I'm pretty blessed. I know some really interesting characters.
You do. You have a good network. I'm lucky I met you.
I've met a few cool guys. Who's got a really cool story? I think Oh, I mean, just because we were just speaking about him before, I think BK would be really cool. Bernard, I think he'd be cool to jump on.
I don't know if I'd stop laughing in that whole podcast.
Yeah, he'd be cool. He's got a really interesting story. I think him. I think I'd just go BK. He's got a cool story. He's got an interesting story. So
whenever he's ready, I'm gonna keep hassling you.
This is my pitch
to help me.
BK, get on Notorious Nabs podcast, please.
That's it. Please.
You got a story? He'll let you tell it.
I'm a long time supporter too. Before the TikToks.
There you go. There's say no more. So I think he's got a cool story. I got a couple of other guys that got really cool stories. But yeah, we'll go with BK.
Thanks, bro. Thanks for coming on. Second guest. It was only right. Thanks for everything you do, bro. It's inspiring to see the way you pivot Encore and the growth you've had. Love following you. I love the connections we have with sports and the culture and that. Someone that I can always come to for advice, which I'm appreciative for. So yeah, thanks for coming on, bro. I love watching what you do. Wish you long success.
Anytime, bro. Anytime. And thanks for having me on, bro. And just before we wrap it up, bro, I think this is just unreal what you're doing. Like, I'm actually wrapped for you. I remember you came to the office sometime last year and you were telling me you wanted to do this. And it's maybe, like you said, it's probably taken you a bit too long to do it. But man, now that you're here, run with it, bro, because you've got firstly the best personality for it. You're embedded within the culture. You understand things very well, and you've just been true blue since the day I met you. So I know.
Thanks, bro.
Any guest that comes on here, they're going to be cheering that they did, and I can't wait to see you in a couple of years' time. Just remember me when you're famous, bro.
I'll try to. Fuck, that was a good best of 2 hours. I knew this was going to go a long time too, and I have so much more that we could have talked about. Mate, we'll save it. We'll do an anniversary.
The next one.
Thanks, bro.